Welcome to Mr. Jackson's chemistry class, and today we're going to talk about how to turn names of chemical compounds into correctly written formulas. There's just three things I want to point out. This is very simple. Number one, we already know that when you read the names, they'll always have two names. The positive ion is named first, and the negative ion is named second. But when you're doing these, you're going to want to make sure that you have your ion sheet at all times. And remember, our positive ions are on the top, our negative ions are on the bottom, and then there's a little extra space here for what I call the transition metals, which I'll explain in a few minutes. So you have those ideas, okay? So here we go. After the positive one is named first, the negative one second. That makes it simple. You know where to look for them on your ion sheet. The next thing is to make sure you watch out for the negative ion endings. There are special endings that have different meanings. There is "ide," "ite," and "ate." So if it's "ide," it means it is just the element by itself with a charge. So chloride. So if I focus in here a little closer, chloride. But if it's chlorite or chlorate, it's going to be chlorine now with oxygen. Okay? So if it says sulfide, IDE, it's just going to be sulfur by itself on the negative side of the formula. But if it's sulfite or sulfate, it's sulfur with oxygen. Okay? So just remember, if it says ide, ite, or ate, you're going to want to make sure you look for the correct formula to write down, okay? And then after you watch out for that, the third thing is you're going to run across a couple that have Roman numerals in their name, and that's the transition metals. The transition metals have their charge in their name, okay? So transition metals have their charge in their names. What does that mean? So iron 3, it's a Roman numeral, oxide. And if you look here, the elements that come from the center of the periodic table, which are called the transition metals, they are too difficult to predict. Iron, copper, and those kind of elements, they end up being too difficult to always pick the right charge. So they have different charges they can actually produce. So is it going to be an iron with a 3 charge or an iron with a 2? Well, it's really simple. The charge that they're using is actually in the name. So if I was going to do an iron 3 oxide, then I would know that the iron is carrying a +3 charge. So those are the three things you just need to remember as you're doing these problems. So let's just do one really quick, okay? We'll do a couple. So here we go. We have ammonium chloride. So all I know is to look up ammonium. It should be in the top of my ion list, and here it is, ammonium. It's NH4 plus 1. So I would write down NH4 plus 1, and then I would look up chloride. So that should be the chlorine by itself. It likes -1. So Cl minus 1. Since the numbers are the same, remember there's no need to crisscross. So my final formula will be NH4Cl. One of each. And that's done. Let's do this one. Calcium phosphate. Okay? Calcium is named first. I should look at the top of the list. Calcium I find right here with a +2 charge. So we're going to write down calcium +2. Phosphate will be a negative ion, so I look in the negative area. And I find it over here as PO4 -3, phosphate. So we're going to use that one right there. So PO4 -3. Now my numbers are not the same, so we're going to crisscross. Okay, so follow our correct rules. So I'm going to need Ca, I need 3 of them. And then I need 2 of these PO4 groups. Since there's 2 capital letters, remember the rule is we need to bracket it. So PO4, and I'm going to put a 2 outside. So that would be the formula that I would put on this line. Okay? So that's how you do it. You just find the ions from their name on our little list here, and then from that you would then put them together following our formula rules, and you're all set. But let's practice one more. We talked about these ones with the name, with the Roman numerals in the name. So here we have one, copper, with Roman numeral 2 hydroxide. So I look up copper. Copper likes either +1 or +2. This formula says I need to use the 2 because it's got a Roman numeral. So I'm going to go copper with a +2. Then I'm going to put it with hydroxide. I look up the negative area and I find hydroxide right there. It's OH with a -1. So OH with a -1. They are not the same, so we're going to crisscross. I want 1 copper, but I want 2 hydroxides, but they're capital letters, so I'm going to bracket it and put the 2 outside. And so that would be the formula I put right there. Okay? So I just wanted to show you how to do these, and so I need you to go ahead on the worksheet that's provided to go ahead and use your ion sheet and turn those names into correct formulas. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You have a great day. Okay? Goodbye.